Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. My name is Fizz, and today we have a special video. Thank you to Nitrado for the sponsorship of this video. I'm going to show you guys how to set up your own ARK Survival Extinction server. That's right, we're going to do the basics, alright? Because the more advanced one could be a little bit complicated, so I want to get this to very basics and to show you guys exactly how to set it up step by step from purchasing it all the way to getting onto the server. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy. But before we start, I want to tell you guys about Nitrado. Nitrado is the leading edge of server development. They host the best servers. I've been using them for like 3 years now. I only use them for all my games. The games that you can play with Nitrado is ARK Survival Evolved, all the way to Conan Exiles, Minecraft, you name it. There's a big list of games that you can host on their servers, so go check it out in the link description down below. So now, let's get started on how to set up your server for ARK Survival Evolved Extinction.
Alright, so the first thing you want to do is go into making an account. So you just log in right here, you make a username and password, and you log in. You can connect your Google+, Facebook, Twitch, I don't know actually what that is, and Xbox if you want, and then all you do is hit register, and make sure you go to your email to make sure you register your account, because it won't be fully active until you fully activate it through your email, so make sure you do that. Next thing you want to do after you log in, you want to look at this little tab right here. So this is a very important tab. It has a lot of information that we can go over, but basically what you want to make sure you remember is your user ID, as well as we're going to go to order servers, because that's where we need to go to get our first server. Now we're going to go through the list and pick out our own server. So let's just go to public servers and all games and features. So we want to go here next. Next we want to do is we're going to do an ARK Survival, because obviously we're going to do the best game that's out right now for Extinction. We're going to choose game. Okay, next thing what we're going to do is choose our location. So our location determines where we live. So if you live in Los Angeles, you want to pick Los Angeles. So if you live in Miami, you want to live in Miami. If you live in New York, you want to live in this area. Obviously, if you live on other seas areas, like for instance Singapore or London, you would pick there as well. But my personal take, I actually have servers on New York City and Miami and Los Angeles, and they don't have any ping restrictions at all. So I always recommend picking whatever is the closest to you. So we're going to do New York because I live in New England. Run a latency measure test. You can also do this to see exactly which one is the best for your location. This will take roughly a couple of seconds to a minute. It's just going to basically test every single server that they own to see which one is the best ping-wise for you to host a server for where you live. And there we go. It says I'll get 20 MS, so that's very good. The lower the MS, the better. 20 MS in New York, 52 in Miami, and 86 in Los Angeles. And if I come over here, obviously this is going to be greater than what it is from over here. So next, what we're going to do is do next. Alrighty, so next when we're on this page, what you want to do is you just want to keep it on public servers. You want to come down here and you want to pick how many slots you are. Now remember this, the more slots you have, the more expensive it will be, because that means it needs more server hardware to run it. So you want to make sure you have roughly as many slots as you want. So for instance, if we're going to do a 10 slot server, we want to have it only under the 10, because that means only 10 people will be on it. And then we want to change the hardware performance upgrades. Now this changes basically determine like how much RAM and how much performance wise as well on your thing. Personally, I have one that's advanced and one that's professional. Personally, I do prefer the professional one a little bit better for my opinion, but it's up to you. You can determine on which one, but I recommend if this is your first server, you want to go between standard and advanced, because you don't know actually how the server performance will be. So this is just up and running, and it only is $18 at the moment. You can't see it, but it's right there, $18 right there. And then lastly, you want to pick exactly how long you want the server to be. Would you like the server to be only 3 days, which is only $5 basically, or would you like it 365 days, which would be a total of $182? And I will let you decide and continue on what you want for that. And lastly, it's payment, and I don't have to go over this. This is basically very standard. You put your payment in, and there you go. Alright, so now after you purchase your server, it will bring you to this list called game servers. This is where your servers are hosted. Right now we have a 10 day server that is now being installed. So right now the server is, we are now telling Nitrado that we have physically purchased a new server. They're going to go do a background check to make sure it's all official, payments are all good, and then it's going to install it on you. Now, this might take up to a couple hours to a couple minutes. It really depends on where your server is located, because remember, they have to make room for this new server that you have just purchased. So after this is done, you'll be able to do different things. So as of right now, we cannot do anything. And it does say in Germany, because yes, Nitrado is a German company, but they have a very big influence and very good influence in the USA. So it's highly recommended. Alrighty, so after you have now successfully installed your server, we have now a 10 public slot server. This is your IP. This is how many days you have left until your server is needs to be repaid, and this is your config. Don't touch any of this stuff as of right now. There's no need, but what we're going to do now is we're going to hit this little thing. Now, this right here is very important. Okay, it's going to open up into a new window. It's going to be a very bright window. And this is our ARK Survival Evolved server settings. This is how we customize a server. This is how we get to be able to have a server. This is where the fun happens. So as of right now, nothing is happening. Right now, it's actually installing ARK still. So right now, it doesn't have any CPU usage, memory, or players. That's because it's actually still installing ARK. But in the meantime, I can actually show you guys what has happened. Alright, so up here, we have connect to server, stop server, and restart server. So I'll go explain which one each one does. So connect to server, obviously, if you hit this button on the web page of your Google Chrome or Firefox or whatever, basically this will connect you through your Steam into the server, into ARK. And basically this is how you first join the server to make sure everything's doing well and okay. Basically, it's a very easy and in my opinion very cool way to get on the server, so that way you don't have to search for your server name and your IP or stuff. This is how you stop the server, very simple how you stop, and this is how you restart your server. Now, I highly recommend if you ever want to just stop the server to do changes or to fix anything, because it's ARK, some stuff always happens. I highly recommend doing stop server first, letting the server stop for you, so that way you can change and see what's happening, and I'll go over exactly how to do it. It's a little bit more advanced. And if you're not a very technical person, that's okay. You can ask a technician person to help you out instead. But if you want to just see if you can see what the problem is, I will show you how to do that. And now it looks like our game is finally installed. So now we're going to go take a look exactly how to edit a server. But before we do that, like I said, we want to stop the server. Make sure you always stop the server. You can add a little message if people are on to say, hello, server is stopping, and there we go. So now we hit enter, and now the server is stopping. I highly recommend always taking between 5 to 10 minutes before you even do anything related to server editing, just to make sure the server is completely down. Alright, so after you have waited the time period, make sure you refresh the page to see if this little thing prompts up right here. The server is currently stopped. This just allows you to make sure that the server is completely stopped. Sometimes it will not show unless you refresh the page, so I highly recommend if you do that. But let's now go to exactly how we customize and edit the server. So let's go to right here. There's a setting tab right here. If these are all bunched up like this, it's under setting right here, and we're going to go to general settings. Okay, so now since this is for beginners, we're not going to do expert mode. I will do another video maybe in the future if Nitrado wants me to explain how expert mode works. Expert mode allows you to customize everything from anagrams to basically everything in the game. It's very complicated and it can actually break your server. So if you don't know what you're doing, it is very lethal to your server. So I highly recommend never clicking this unless you know what you're doing. But let's go over the basics. So the basic server settings is your server name. So you can change your server name to anything you want. So let's do it GG record. And basically this is what the server name will pop up on the Steam page. So that means when you go and try and search for your server, if you type in GG space record, it will pop up. I have found it to be better if there is no spaces in the names, and it'll find it a lot easier because there is thousands and thousands of other servers. And if you can have a complete more of a name, it searches a little bit quicker, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Next is a message of the day. So if you know how you join ARK servers on private servers or even the public server, there's a message thing on the box that says hello and welcome to the server. You can write this right here. So this ARK is hosted by Nitrado. If you want to make sure you tell people where you got the server, there you go. I highly recommend keep that in right there. You can do the message of the day duration. This is 20 seconds, so this is based off seconds. So if you want it to be roughly 30 to 40 seconds, let's do 40 seconds. So that way it gives people enough time to see it and to make sure they understand that the server is being hosted by Nitrado. Very good. Okay, so after you decide what your server name is, the message of the day, and all this stuff, you can change the server password. We'll go over this in a little bit, so we'll just skip this right now. But your admin password, you also really don't need to change as well, because we're going to show you guys how to log in with admin as well. So we can just ignore this, but the most crucial and important thing we want to do is right here, map name. Map name is basically what the server will be running on for what map. So we're going to change this to Extinction because that's why we're here. We're here to make an Extinction server. So we're going to change this to Extinction. Now, keep this in mind. After you save the settings and start the server, it's going to take roughly 10 minutes to download Extinction and get it properly installed on your server. So no biggie. Just keep in mind it does take some time when switching from different maps to different servers that it can take some time because of the download. Okay, so I'm going to go over the next couple steps really quickly because a lot of them you're just not going to touch because you just don't really need to for setting up a server. Auto restart on updates. Yes, we want to check this. We want to make sure our server is always up to date with the latest ARK patches. Restart counter. This is set to 60 seconds for default, but I would highly recommend making it 300, which is 5 minutes. That way it gives people 5 minutes to get off the server. It's just a time limit, basically. Autosave intervals, you can change this between 15, 30, or 60 minutes. I personally always have mine at 60, but there's nothing wrong with changing it, or not even changing it to be at 15 minutes. Nothing wrong with that. Battle Eye and VAC, basically this allows you to not have cheaters on your server, meaning you can't have anyone that has a VAC ban, and you can't, and this is your anti-cheat software. Yeah. That's pretty simple. Just have these both enabled because it literally prevents people from hacking your server. It's very nice. Gameplay logs, don't need this checked. Active events, so this is where you can change it to what event you want on your server. Right now there's only these. Personally, I always keep the current official event. So for instance, if it's Hollow End or Valentine's or whatnot, Christmas, I will get the event happening, whatever's happening on the main official server. So keep that in mind if you want to do that. Spectate password, we don't need this. Backups, don't touch. Dynamic maps, we don't need. And admin logs, we also don't need. So there you go. So just skip these 3 steps and we'll go on to restrictions. Alright, so under restrictions, there's only 2 things I want to go over is high damage. Under restriction tabs, there's only 2 things I want to go over is the random supply crates and disable weather fog. So basically you want to check both of these. Personally, if you don't like fog, I don't actually think Extinction has fog, but just to make sure, this is like the big thick fog that you can't see a foot in front of you. It's very annoying, but this is my preference. In the random supply crates, it just makes it basically randomized, so instead of getting always water pipes and compasses, it'll be like different things, which actually makes it really cool and fun. It's better than official, hands down better than official. So yes, I highly recommend checking these both under the restriction tabs. Alright, so this one is going to be the fun and a little bit annoyance part. Player whitelisting and admins. So basically what this allows you to do is allows you to whitelist a certain Steam account to be able to join your server, or ban, or be admin. So for instance, I'm going to explain exactly how you do this step by step. So first off, we need to go to our Steam profile. This is my Steam profile. As you can tell, this is my profile. What you want to do is right click on the side and you want to do copy page URL. You're going to copy your page URL This is your page, so you don't want to copy mine because I don't want to be whitelisted to your server. You want to whitelist yours, and all you need to do is just go to your Steam profile. Next, what you want to go do is you want to go to the Steam IO page. I will put this in the link description down below. Exactly, I use this all the time, and what you want to do right here is put in your page, your Steam page of your profile, okay? And I'm blanking it out so you can't see what mine is because I don't want people to add me to everyone's servers, and I don't want to see that. And then what you do is basically you do lookup, okay? Okay, so now when you do lookup, there will be a Steam ID 64. This is what this is right here. This is what you need. And what you want to do is basically copy this right here, copy the clipboard. Okay, it's copied, and what you want to do is you want to come back to your Nitrado page and you want to paste it right here. So for instance, I'm just going to put name ID, okay? I'm not putting the actual ID of it, but I'm going to show you guys exactly what you want. So this is your ID, okay? What you want to do is you want to make sure you copy and paste this under admin, so that way you don't have to put an admin password into getting onto the server to enable admin commands and to be able to do admin things. You also want to do is do this. You want to put it under exclusive join list. You want to go down to here and hit this. You want to put your ID there again and hit exclusive join only. Now what you have now set up is an exclusive server join list. So now whoever is on the whitelisted as well as exclusive join is the only people that will be allowed to join your server. So that means it's not a public server anymore, it's a private public server. So that means it's your server, your control, and you can control exactly who is playing on it. So you want to make sure you have this checked and also exclusive join. Now to put the next person in, all you need to do is click on enter and paste the next one in. So you want to make sure you want to get all your friends' Steam pages to make sure you can get their Steam IDs to put in here. Now granted, if you want your friends to have admin as well, obviously you do that as well, but I highly recommend to not give them admin so they don't break your server, because you can break your server pretty easily because ARK has a lot of ways you can do that. So I highly recommend just putting yours in so you can break your own server. Okay, so the next area is called gameplay. So I'm not going to go over anything in this because they're very self-explanatory. They tell you exactly what they do and you can check off. And it basically customizes exactly how you want your gameplay to be. And there's a lot of things to do. I'll also link the ARK wiki for server settings, because that also goes more in depth about all these settings. But there's a lot of settings to go over, and if you don't want to change anything, you don't have to. But if you want to change it to be like, for instance, flying caves, you check that. Enable third person, you enter, you check that. All right, so you know, just read over them and go over if you really want to change any of them. Be my guest. It's a lot of reading, but you can customize your server to do anything you want with it. Okay, so after you change your server settings, we can also change PvE settings. Like, again, I'm not going to go over all of them. There's just way too many. But basically, this is just specific PvP versus PvE. And it's just basically like gamma, friendly fire, and allow building in caves, and etc, etc. So please keep it in mind. You can read up on these and as well. There will also be more descriptions at the ARK wiki. Yes, I highly recommend reading the ARK wiki if you want to know what a bunch of settings do, because it does explain a lot of different things. So yes, link in the description down below. Alright, so I'm going to briefly explain what the multiplier settings do. So the multiplier is basically how you customize how your server reacts with things. So for instance, if you want to change your XP multiplier from 1 times, you can change it to 5 times. If you want to change your taming speed from 1 times to 5 times, you can do that. Now, please keep in mind, there's a lot of things you can change, and I will also highly recommend reading the wiki, but also they do tell you exactly what they do underneath. So for instance, the special XP multiplier, this multiplier affects the amount of XP for special events, such as a explorer notes or some sort of elixir that gives you XP. So if you wanted your XP, special XP multiplier to be more than 1, you could just change it to whatever you want. Maybe like 10 times. You get 10 times XP whenever you get an explorer node or something. There's a lot of things you can change. I highly recommend playing around with these. You can play around with them a lot. There's nothing really wrong with that. to basically on how you want your server to be. It is a lot of work, but to be honest, it's amazing because you can customize the server to be exactly how you want to play. It's really good, and I absolutely love all these different settings. It's really fun. Alright, and the next area is a baby multiplier. This is basically how baby dinosaurs or creatures grow up. You can change it to be very fast, you can change it to be how the imprint scale is. It's really up to you, as, like, again, they are referenced under here, which is very nice of Nitrado telling you exactly what they do. And I will also relink, once again, I'm gonna tell you, go to the ARK wiki. The ARK wiki has a lot of good information about a lot of server settings because it's an old game now. It's from 2015, and a lot of these settings are in the ARK wiki, so it's very good to tell. But if you don't want to do that, most of these will tell you exactly how to set up your multipliers for what you want your cuddling to be, or and how strong you want to be. If you want a super baby T-Rex, you can make a super baby T-Rex. It's really up to you on how you want to customize your settings to be. Alright, so the final step, we have made it to the bottom of all the server settings. We are on the Unreal 4 engine server settings. So these I highly recommend not changing. The only two I would change is the spoiler multiplier and the disabled friendly fire. If you want stuff to spoil faster, you can change this to whatever you want. As well as if you want to not be able to kill each other with friendly fire, you can just check this. Basically just makes it so that if you have a long neck rifle, you can't kill your friends or dinos and such, but that's up to you. And last but not least, we save. I highly recommend saving continuously, so that way you can keep saving your server settings. But if you haven't done that, you save now. And now all of your server settings have been saved. There we go. You can save your password, whatever. I don't really care. But yes, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're back at the front page, and now the last step we have to do is start the server. Let's now start the server, let's initiate it, and let's get playing on an Extinction server. This is going to take roughly 5 to 10 minutes. It really depends on what you have changed. Don't be discouraged, it will get there in time. And yeah, so now we'll be right back as soon as this is done. Okay, so after you have refreshed the page, I highly recommend refreshing. You should have this little thing over here. This should tell you all the information about your server. And last thing you want to do is just connect to the server. So this will bring up a window right there. As you can tell, it's basically now it's going to launch ARK into the server. And there you go. Get right into the server and get playing with your friends and have some fun with Extinction. And just ignore this. It's just because I didn't save the Extinction server. That was my bad. But it does work. Trust me. It'll say Extinction right here when it has the map on it. Alright, so I know the video went a little bit long, but it's a lot to explain. It could have been a lot longer, but obviously there is a lot of reading involved, and setting up a server is quite time-consuming and stuff, so I want to give you guys some time to do this, but this is just the basics. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and thank you Nitrado again for the sponsorship of this video. Go check them out in the link description down below to set up your own server. There'll be a whole thing underneath in the description and stuff. But yeah, hopefully this guy's helped you guys to set up your own server. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments down below. As well, I have an open free server for you guys to come see. So this is the same server that you guys can rent from Nitrado. If you want to try it out for a couple days and see how the server works and performs and stuff, and you want to ask me in game how all this stuff works and everything, feel free. It's on my Discord. If you want to try it out before you actually buy your own, be my guest. It's quite fun, and you know, it's really fun to set up your own server. It really is. So I highly recommend it if you want to come try it out. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Don't forget to check out the link description down below for everything, for all the information I went over in this video. But anyways, that's it. I love you all. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys on the next one. Take care. Have a good one.